Hello friends, Robin here from Cheese from Scratch, and welcome to my channel. This is the channel where I teach all things cheese making, dairy processing, and milk cows. And I'm excited for today's video to be very realistic. So today is one of those days that kind of feels like there's not enough time in the day to get every single thing done. And of course I have to film a YouTube video on this day. But it's kind of fun because it's good to show that things are not always perfect. When you have to make cheese, sometimes your kitchen does not look like it should have cheese made in it. This is kind of embarrassing. I'm gonna clean this. So I just wanted to kind of showcase today a really busy day for me and how I still have to make cheese because I have 2 cows and milk, and I just have so much milk coming in right now. We were getting about 4 gallons a day last week when I made last week's video, or maybe the week before, but now we are getting like 5 gallons a day. So there's so much milk. I've got 9 or 10, I think I calculated 10 gallons in the cheese pot right now sitting, and I just gotta go and milk, so I'm gonna go get more milk. So the milk just keeps on flowing. Anyway, super busy day today. Tomorrow we are headed on a very quick vacation. We're just heading for the weekend to go to a wedding, and then we will be back again. We've got a house sitter coming to sit the house. If you're watching this video, we're already back, so internet safety. We're already back, but yeah, so I've got so many things to do. You know how it is when you're going to leave. So the number one thing was to empty out the milk fridge and get some cheese made, get my jars cleaned so that our house sitter, who's going to be also milking the cows, has a place to put all of the milk. Just reading my list here. So number one, make cheese. I said mozzarella, but also I maybe am going to pull some of the curds out to have just as cheese curds for our road trip tomorrow, because cheese curds on a road trip are perfect. The next thing was wash and store the jars. I've got as far as washing them. I have not stored them yet. Do all the laundry, and I underlined all, so there is a lot of laundry to do. So things to do. Change the sheets. Pack for the boys, the little boys. Pack for me, pack what I can in the van. Yes, I drive a van. Mom life. I call it the mom bus. It's the best. I actually was not pro van until I got a van, and now I love my van. Milk. Milk 2 cows, I should add. I did not write that on my list, but milk. I gotta go down and milk here in 3 minutes. They'll be mooing at me if I don't. Clean the kitchen. Case in point. Zoom meeting at 4:30, and I have to leave by 2:30 because for my Milkmaid Society membership, which is my monthly membership club, we meet twice a month and we do a cheese make along for the first meeting of the month, which is today. And my internet's not good enough, so I have to go to my mom's, and I make cheese in my mom's kitchen. So I haul all my equipment, all of my milk up there, and do that. So I have to leave at 2:30 so that I can be ready to make cheese by 4:30, because we usually start at a certain point. Like today, we're going to be making Colby cheese in our cheese make along, and we're starting at the clean break point, which is after you have added your culture and your rennet, and you're starting to cut the curds and stir them, and we kind of go through all of that together. So I have to leave at 2:30 for that. Bake Zach a cake because today is his birthday. He's actually gone hauling cows today, working on his birthday, but I'm trying to make him what his mom usually makes him for a cake, but she's gone right now too. She always makes him this Blitz tort cake, which is, it takes like 8 eggs, 2 days to make. I've got the custard that I made the other day, now I have to make the cake part. I don't think it's that complicated, but I've just never made it before because mom always makes it, so I gotta make that. Film my YouTube video, which I am doing right now. Take out meat for dinner. That is always, this is your reminder, take out some meat for dinner. Alright, so that is my big to-do list. I've just spent way too much time reading it out to you guys. I'm going to go down and milk my 2 cows, and then I'm going to come back up, I'm going to clean the milk, I'm going to wash the milk dishes, and then I'm going to clean my kitchen. So the reason that I chose to do mozzarella today is because it's actually a cheese that I kind of pick for the days when I've not got a lot of time. And I'm actually doing naturally acidified mozzarella, which is different than the citric acid or vinegar versions that you might have heard of before. So naturally acidified mozzarella is where you add a culture into the milk, and when you add this bacterial culture into the milk, this bacteria, it's lactic bacteria, it starts to feed on the lactose, which is the sugar in the milk. And as it feeds on this lactose, it ferments it into lactic acid, which is an acid, just like vinegar or citric acid. And so it's a much slower process than just adding a citric acid right into the pot. And what you're doing there is basically getting the pH of the milk down to a certain point. So cheese or milk will only stretch if it is in a pH point of between 5 and 5.4, ideally 5.2. So I don't test pH really in my cheese making, but that is the window that you are trying to acidify your milk into. When milk comes out of the udder, it's about at a pH of 6.8-ish. So we're trying to take that not really acidic milk, just the tiniest little bit on the acidic side of the pH line milk, and take it all the way down into that 5 to 5.4. So you can do that by just adding a direct acid, as I said, like citric acid or vinegar, and that's going to just bypass fermentation. No fermentation happens, you can't age those cheeses, nothing like that. But if you want, and if you have time to go for that slower, more gradual bacterial fermentation that's creating acid, then you can get into that ideal range. So that's what I'm doing today, and it does take time, but it doesn't take a lot of hands-on time, and that's why I love this recipe on the days when I'm really busy. So what I did this morning was I warmed my milk up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. I added in my clabber culture, because I like to use clabber for this recipe. You can use kefir, you can use a mesophilic freeze-dried culture, a thermophilic freeze-dried culture. I don't really like using freeze-dried cultures for naturally acidified mozzarella. I find it takes way too long. So if you're going to do this recipe, highly recommend using either clabber or kefir. You can find this recipe in my Christmas Cheeseboard Ebook. I'll grab it and show you. So this is my Christmas Cheeseboard Ebook. You've probably heard me talk about it before. I have actually done the citric acid mozzarella one in on this channel before in, I think, my girl dinner video. I'll link it here. But I also have the naturally acidified version right to there. I also have other recipes in here, brie, Colby. That Colby that I'm making tonight with my Zoom meeting gals is in here. How to smoke cheese, how to make Gouda, all sorts of different things in that book. You can find it on my website, and I'll link it down below. Anyways, so I have chosen to do the naturally acidified version because I have added in I warmed my milk up to 90, I added in my culture, I added in my rennet, and now I put the lid on the pot, which is a piece of tinfoil, and I'm gonna let it sit there until, well, I'll probably be stretching it around noon, and at some point before noon, I have to come back and cut it and stir it a little bit, not very much, just stir it a little bit, especially if I'm planning on pulling some curds out for cheese curds for our road trip. But at some point between now and noon, I have to come back and stir it a tiny bit. It doesn't matter when I come back, just come back at some point. And then at noon, I will just drain the whey off of it. I'm going to heat up a kettle of water and I'll stretch it, and that will be that. I do have to come back a little bit throughout, and I will show you that, just checking to see if it is ready to stretch. But I know just from making this cheese a lot that it usually stretches about 4 hours after about 3 actually. Let me, 1 second. So if I start by 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1. So usually 3 hours. 3 hours after I have added in my rennet, I am stretching this cheese. 3 to 4. I don't know. Usually if I start at 9, I'm stretching it by 1:30. But today I started earlier, so that might throw me for a loop. Anyways, not really that big of a deal to make this cheese when you have a busy day going on. Now I'm late for milking, so I'm gonna go milk, and then I will be back, and I'll just show you cheese making through my busy day. Okay, bye guys. I'm done milking, and I'm just going to be dumping today's milk. I washed my milk cans, and I'm going to dump them back into my milk cans, because I'm going to have to transport this milk up to my mom's, where I do the Zoom meeting. So yeah, I've got one of these milk cans to pour my clean milk into. Then they'll be refrigerated and they're just easier to transport. They still leak. I put them in garbage bags to transport in the car. Here's my forgotten breakfast. Herb and garlic cream cheese, homemade though. Yum. Okay, I'll finish eating that in a minute. It's very cold now after many hours of sitting. So I finished milking. It's about 10:30 now. I came into the house, washed my milk dishes, did a lot of laundry. So it's probably been, I think I put the rennet in at 8:30. So we're now at 2 hours since I put the rennet in. Usually for cheese recipes, and definitely in like the recipe, if you follow the Christmas Cheeseboard Ebook, it'll say only 1 hour and then come back and check for a clean break. But I find with this recipe, whenever you have time, come back and check for a clean break, which you will get because it's been 2 hours. And then also you can cut the curds then. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these curds into a grid. Just because it has been 2 hours, the chunk of whey is sunk down below a little bit of a layer. Sorry, the chunk of cheese curd mass is sunk down below a layer of whey. That's just because it's been sitting there for so long. So I'm gonna go ahead and just chop this up into 1-inch cubes about. So first I'll do horizontal and vertical lines. I'll let it sit for 5-10 minutes, come back, do undercuts, and then let it sit for 5-10 minutes. And then maybe I'll start then, or maybe I'll just get busy and I'll come back and start whenever I think I want to. Nice clean break. Okay, just gonna go all the way as far as I can to the bottom and do cuts. Alright, next thing on the list. Put these jars away. Alright, so I store my milk jars actually in the milk fridge, empty in the milk fridge with the lids just propped on. And the reason for that is twofold. First one is when we put milk into the milk fridge, the jars are nice and cold, so it's going to cool down the milk a little bit quicker. And most importantly, even before that, even if I didn't do it for cooling the milk down a little bit more quickly, is that it saves the space in the milk fridge. So nobody can come and hijack the space in the milk fridge, because everybody does that. If there is a blank space in the fridge, somebody is going to put something there. So I keep these in the milk fridge, and then nobody can steal my spot. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do my undercuts now because it's been about 10 minutes. So using my fancy curd cutter, just getting as many curds as I can at the bottom, and then I'm done. And I've shared this before, but some people love these, some people hate them, but what you have to do is you have to wash them right away after you are done. Done. Alright, so I don't really have time today to make butter, but I have to because not only do I have a lot of cream to use, but I don't have any butter out of the freezer to bake the cake, and I need butter for the cake. So I'm going to make this cream into butter quick. As I shared in my last video where I made homemade butter, I always let my cream warm up to 62 degrees Fahrenheit before I churn it, and that's just going to allow my churning time to be way less, a bazillion times less than if I was not doing that. I got a couple bricks for the freezer, and I've got about a cup of butter left back in my bowl, a little more than a cup, for my cake. So that was worth it. Alright, I thought this cake recipe took 8 eggs, but it actually takes 16. So good thing I have a lot of eggs right now for my chickens. Right. I've officially gone off book with this cake, and I'm hoping it turns out, but I read the recipe wrong again. So hoping this turns out. Alright, I don't think this is how it's supposed to look, but it's going in the oven. Alright, so it is nearly noon. Yep, no, it is noon. It's 12:08. Gus and I just ate lunch, and I just thought I'd make myself a quick little latte coffee because I have not consumed enough calories today. I've been too busy. Not an excuse, but raw milk is a nice way to add yourself some little calories. So I'm gonna add some Whey caramel in here actually first before I start talking. A little Whey caramel. I think one day I'll do a video on how to do Whey caramel because it's so easy and so delicious. It takes some time, but everything in the cheese making world takes time. And it's so handy to have a jar of this in, actually 2 jars of that in the fridge right now, and it lasts a really long time because it's basically like a syrup, right? So it's sugar-based thing, just like jam kind of thing, lasts so long. Alright, so now that I have my little latte mixed up, the reason I did that is because I'm going to check my cheese. It might already be ready to stretch, so I'm going to check a curd. I just boiled a kettle of water, and so I'm going to dip a curd into the cup of water and see if it stretches. We'll see where it's at. I have not stirred the curds at all. The last thing I did with that pot was cutting the bottom curds. Ever since then, they've just been doing their own thing. I had planned on stirring them for a little bit, maybe pulling some curds out to use for squeaky cheese curds for our road trip, but just didn't happen. Everything's been so busy. So we're just going to make the whole pot into mozzarella, and I'm going to see if it will stretch. Right, so you need a cup. Oops, I'm going to get this out of the way. And we're going to fill that cup with some boiling hot water. Well, not fill it. Put a little bit in there. And then I'm going to scoop out a curd from the pot. Now the reason I like to stir the curds a little bit, if I have the chance, is just because it makes them a little bit easier to deal with, but it's not a big deal if they don't. They're just a little bit more flimsy, kind of. So drop that in there, and just have a little sip of your coffee. Wait for 30 seconds. And my cake is smelling delicious. It's actually doing what it's supposed to do, which is exciting. So that is the current view of what's going on in there. They're like all popping up. They look like that's how it looks when Maggie makes it. So that's Mom. So maybe my off-book cake making was fine. All right. As you can see, I'm an off-booker. So we're going to see if this will stretch. We're going to see what's going on with it. Maybe we're far from stretching. Maybe we're close. So you just take a fork and you're going to dip it up and down. Up and down. Huh?
Where's my pile?
On the table.
This one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, but don't touch it, okay? I've got it all organized.
How am I putting it in my bag?
No, because Mommy has to decide what I want to take of yours and what I don't. Okay? So just leave it there because I got it all organized.
It has to be these dinosaur things you
Okay.
have to hit.
Okay, you can put them in there.
In there?
Yeah, in your bag. Just your dinosaur pens.
And I got a game in there. Only me.
Really? Okay, so it's still breaking off. It still needs quite a while, yeah. I'm not going to check it for another hour. And at this point, I'm not even going to bother stirring. I'm just going to put the cover back on, check in another hour, and see how it's going.
Mellow. I eat mellow. Hey!
Don't touch this video. Alright, I'm about to test my cheese again here. And I gotta figure out how to get these out of the pan. This one will be easy. Thank goodness for spring forms. Ooh, that's set enough. Gonna need to do this in a bowl. Okay, well, doesn't look quite how Maggie's looks. Oh my. That's the messiest birthday cake I've ever seen in my entire life. Hopefully it'll taste good. I think it will. But did not make that custard very good. I tried. More laundry then. I think I should put it in a bowl. Or he should come home quickly and eat this before it dissolves. I don't know. Alright, so I ended up transferring it to a bowl. It's birthday soup. But I think torts, aren't they usually served in a bowl anyways? I feel like this is going to be transferring easier. From now on, I'm just going to stay in my lane, which is cheese. And let's see if my cheese, how it's doing. Alright, more dishes. Move that. Hot water. Throw these in there. Dipping up and down, and you can see it's starting to get a little stretchy, but it's not there yet. So what I'm looking for is a really, really good stretch. And when we get it, I'll show you what that looks like. It's starting to stretch a little bit, though. So don't mistake this for a really, really good stretch. It's only a mediocre stretch. If it breaks off at any point, other than the only reason that it should break off is that just the string becomes so thin that it can no longer support its weight. That's the only reason it should break off. So, not ready yet. Alright, so it's now about 2 o'clock and we're starting to get some stretch here. Let me show you this a little bit better. So I just popped a curd into there, waited 30 seconds or so, and you can see we're starting to get a stretch. Let's see. I want to see how good this stretches. Is it going to break off or is it just going to string off? If it's just going to string off, then I'm good stretching it. If it's going to break off, that is what I don't want. I want it to stretch like I could stretch it to the roof and it's just going to become so thin. Oh, it still broke off a little bit. I don't know if you saw that. I'm going to wait another 15 minutes and then we'll check it again. So we're getting really, really close, and that could be construed as, you know, time, but you just want it to just be so melty that it just melts to the roof, basically. Melts as high as the roof, as high as the moon. Right. So this is my leaning tower of dishes. Hopefully it's not fall over. Pretty standard, that amount of dishes. And I have been doing dishes all day too, so it's like throughout the day, so. The big cleanup is always the big one at the end though. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull the whey off of the top of the pot. So you can see the whey down under there. I'm going to pull off until I see the surface of the curds. I will test another curd, but I'm going to do that in a minute. And I know that it's going to be ready anyways, so I might as well just pull the whey off. Alright, I accidentally got my cup dirty, so I have to use a new one. Still have my Christmas cups out. We're about back to the season again, but I never put them away. Alright, So dump this in there. Still stretching. This is what you want. Very nice and melty. Okay. Right, so I just kneaded it into like a bun, threw her in there. It doesn't have to be a hold form, but I just felt like this had a lot of water on it, and so we're just gonna have that water dripping off so it's not sitting on the surface. And I gotta go. So thank you guys for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and I got most of the things on my list done today. Still have a bunch of stuff to do when I get home, but I gotta go make Colby cheese. Okay, bye guys!